First, a major shakeup in the $2,000 stimulus plan. Then, the Senate introduces a plan to raise Social Security by $200 a month. And if that wasn't enough, there's a shocking new update in the Charlie Kirk case. You can see we have a lot of very important stuff to cover today, so let's just dive straight into it. And we'll start with this new Senate push to finally help out seniors in this country because, honestly, it's getting ridiculous. I mean, it's very sad hearing stories from older Americans who can't even afford basic stuff anymore. These are people who spent decades paying into Social Security thinking they'd at least be able to retire with some dignity. But no, prices go up once again, everything costs more, and their big Social Security increase this year was what? $56 on average? That doesn't even cover a week of groceries anymore.
Here I am today in front of the Social Security office trying to figure out why I only get $876 a month on Social Security after working 36 years and 10 years off and on, but 36 years straight, and raising 5 kids, and now I get $876 a month. What is that?
Meanwhile, health insurance costs are through the roof because politicians on both sides refuse to agree on a solution for that disaster. Thanks to them, a bunch of seniors on fixed incomes are now having to choose between food and health coverage. Like, how is that even okay?
Again, is in that pre-Medicare, right? 60, 61 years old. Maybe it's you and a spouse or partner that you're covering. Right now, the insurance may be $600 or $700 a month. I mean, I've seen estimates that in some cases going to, $1,800 to $2,000 a month.
This is exactly why so many seniors have to rely on food stamps these days, because Social Security simply isn't enough.
What is the amount of Americans that are on a fixed income that can no longer afford to feed themselves and are dependent on SNAP benefits because they retired and they should have been set? They should have been able to retire. I need to make X amount of money to retire. When I get there, I'm good. I'm going to retire. I can pay all my bills. I'm going to live comfortably. Oh, and then when your government, I don't know, in the last 8 months since Trump has been in office, or 10 months, the US dollar has lost 8.2% of its value. And that was by May. You want to talk about inflation being down my gosh damn ass. They've lowered gas, they've lowered a few things that have made it a little bit cheaper for you, but everything else you spend on a daily basis is on the rise.
Insane to think that we keep sending money to other countries while our own people are scrounging for food.
How does a $20 billion bailout of Argentina help Americans? You're the president's point person on that. Can you explain to those here who are feeling the pinch, including America's farmers, why the United States is helping out Argentina?
You don't make money. The U.S. government made money. We used our financial balance sheet to stabilize the government. One of our great allies in Latin America during an election, the president there won in a landslide. The government's going to make money, and I would rather use peace through economic strength than have to be shooting at narco boats coming offshore if the government collapsed.
Well, a few senators are now pushing a new bill called the Social Security Emergency Relief Act, and it would boost Social Security and veteran benefits by $200 a month all the way until July 2026. I know it's mostly being pushed by Democrats like Chuck Schumer, but honestly, this shouldn't even be a partisan issue. People all over America are struggling. Something's got to give. Now, the White House replied to the news about this bill by saying President Trump will always protect and strengthen Social Security, which is why he signed historic legislation removing taxes on Social Security benefits for nearly all beneficiaries. Now, here's what's kind of wild. The White House actually admitted that the tariffs have raised prices on a ton of stuff.
Then do you agree then that Americans are paying those tariffs?
I think, no, I don't agree. I think that they might be paying something, but when you take the overall impact, the Americans are gaining tremendously. They're gaining through national security. Look, I'm ending war because of these tariffs. Americans would have to fight in some of these wars.
And get this, that's basically the whole reason they're now talking about these $2,000 stimulus checks.
And so we're making up ground fast, but the fact is that people are still down about $2,000 relative to what their purchasing power was when Joe Biden took office. And so we understand that people feel like there's an affordability problem, but we're closing the gap fast. And with these policies and potentially, rebate checks, we might close the whole gap really, really fast.
Okay.
So surely they know that life is hard right now for a lot of people, including our seniors, and that's why their response seems bizarre to me, at least. Now, I know a lot of people watching this actually rely on Social Security, so I'm curious, do you agree with that statement, or do you think we seriously need some kind of emergency boost right now? Let me know in the comments below. Now, since we are talking about those checks, I have some updates there too. I've seen a lot of people in the comments confused, like, wait, are these checks going to every American or just taxpayers? So let's clear that up real quick. The money for these checks, according to the president and his team, is coming straight from the tariffs.
We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. And the numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people are saying, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country.
In other words, they're kind of admitting that tariffs caused inflation, and now they're just paying us back for the money we lost because of it. And since that inflation hit everyone, not just taxpayers, checks should go out to everyone too. Now, the confusion really started after Scott Bessent said something in an interview that made it sound like only taxpayers would benefit.
The $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
But here's what you need to know. If they go with direct checks, it'll likely go out to every American citizen. If they do it as a tax refund, then yeah, it'll only go to taxpayers. Now, the big question everyone's asking, when are these checks actually coming? Well, I said in my last video that I think it's gonna be after the midterms because, let's be honest, timing a stimulus right before elections, that's politics 101. But even if Congress signs off, I don't think we'll actually see checks until around June 2026. You see, the administration is still waiting on a major Supreme Court decision about the tariffs, and they really can't spend that tariff money until the court decides whether those tariffs were even legal.
In Washington, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments over President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs on Wednesday. The closely watched case analyzing if Trump has the legal authority to impose most of the tariffs and its impact to the U.S. economy and global trade.
It's a congressional power, not a presidential power to tax. And you want to say tariffs are not taxes, but that's exactly what they are. They're generating money from American citizens, revenue.
The exercise of the power is to impose tariffs, right? And the statute doesn't use the word tariffs.
Because if the court strikes them down, the government has to refund everyone who paid those tariffs. And by everyone, I don't mean you or me. We're talking about massive corporations like Walmart, Target, and other big importers who paid those fees up front, which is crazy because we're the ones who ended up paying higher prices because of it. Now the president's clearly nervous about that ruling, which is why he keeps dropping these warnings about tariffs.
The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people are saying, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country.
Bottom line, I wouldn't expect any checks for at least 7 or 8 months. And honestly, this whole $2,000 checks talk feels more like a way to make tariffs sound good and to maybe distract people from everything else that's been going wrong for this administration lately. I mean, have you guys seen this insane new update on the Charlie Kirk case?
Remember how we all thought it was weird that UVU was renovating the courtyard where Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Only a few days after the fact. Then how a UVU official addressed this, saying that it wasn't an attempt to cover up anything, that the paving work was already on the calendar as part of a planned campus renovation. Well, it turns out that UVU was reaching out to construction companies on Saturday, September 13th, only 3 days after the assassination. Text messages were obtained by Project Constitution via a GRAMA request, which allows the public to request access to government records, including state universities. Now, the names are redacted, but it shows that as early as Saturday, September 13th, they were looking to paver the whole area, and that the guys in the construction company were en route to do that. And this one's weird. Maybe that would be good. My guys are well trained in keeping quiet. Why do they need to be quiet? The exchange goes on to say that the university wants to get rid of all of the sod. The contractor asking if there's anybody on site that they should coordinate with, and someone responding, just get her done. Thank you. Usually a renovation like this would have to go through approvals and funding, not to mention it was a crime scene. Plus, if this was previously planned, would you need to be asking all of these questions, including making design decisions? So you have to wonder, how did they get this approval? And who gave it to them, and why?
Now, I can't sit here and tell you these texts are 100% legit, but if they are, they completely change how those so-called renovations look. Like, let's not forget, the FBI didn't even have a bullet when they first started tearing up that entire crime scene right there in broad daylight. And on top of that, they even removed parts of the roof behind the tent, which, of course, was very random to say the least.
Let's see what are they doing, because I see a lot of construction smoke going on. Oh no, they are constructing. They are taking out the whole platform where he was sitting.
This is the courtyard where it all happened. The university is already making some changes. They're replacing the grass where Charlie Kirk was speaking with pavers.
Also, didn't we have a guy who admitted to renovating the entire crime scene?
What's up, guys? Hey, I just want to share a quick post here. I got a call about a week and a half ago from a couple of maintenance guys from the state of Utah that had been asked to replace, to beautify an area where a brother had been gunned down. It was Sunday. I usually don't work on Sunday, but I needed to be useful. And so I showed up with a couple of my brother, with a couple of other brothers that We all have differing beliefs and differing viewpoints, and together we were useful. It was heavy to work where a brother was gunned down, but we did it. And I've wanted to make a post. I haven't wanted to be controversial. America is founded on people with different beliefs working together. And that's exactly what we did that Sunday and that Monday. And I'm getting some hate online for it. I'm getting some fake reviews. And, the answer to hate is love. And the answer to falsehood is truth.
So here's the thing. In that clip, he straight up admits he was hired to clean up the crime scene on a Sunday. But according to those text messages, everything actually started on Saturday. So clearly, someone's not telling the truth here. And honestly, at this point, I don't even know who we're supposed to believe. But what we do know is that someone wanted the entire crime scene cleared out just 3 days after the shooting. And no one has explained why. Why rush to erase evidence before the investigation's even wrapped up? And why in the world do you expect us to be okay with that? I just found something wild about coffee. Studies have been done to show that within just over an hour, regular coffee made people's arteries go rock hard, like copper pipes. When your arteries harden, you can't do the things that you used to do. Mountain biking, running, pickleball, you gotta soften them up. You want them pliable, rubbery, youthful. Scientists gave some old mice NMN for 12 weeks and their rock-hard arteries became elastic again. It was a 60% reversal, not better, reversed. It's like 60-year-old arteries becoming 25 again. This was published in Cell Journal. It activates eNOS, E-N-O-S, which makes nitric oxide. Your blood cells literally get younger. Here's Professor David Sinclair from the Center for the Biology of Aging at Harvard Medical School talking about it.
Of the people that I know that look freakishly and unusually young for their age, that I have met in, say, the last 36 months, I cannot get over how many of them have told me that I'm on NAD and I'm on metformin. And I'm talking about everywhere from a gym to a golf course to a business meeting. And I'm talking about visually, shockingly looking young people. Mainly people in their 50s that look like they could be in their 30s or early 40s to me. So when you say NAD, do you believe in the IV therapy? Do you believe in the stuff you can inject with subcutaneously? Or are you speaking specifically about this precursor that you were referencing?
Well, what I believe doesn't so much matter, but the scientific evidence points to taking a supplement every day, a gram of NMN, which is this precursor, stands for nicotinamide mononucleotide for the aficionados.
You get up, put your pants on, and drive to pay $5+ for that shitty-ass coffee that hardens your arteries. Let me show you what you should actually be doing instead. Introducing the world's first longevity coffee, the only coffee that doesn't wreck your arteries. Instead, it helps them relax, boosts nitric oxide, and keeps you feeling young from the very first sip. It starts with NMN, the same molecule shown to restore arterial elasticity and reverse age-related stiffness. But it doesn't stop there. Glutathione, the major antioxidant in your body. It helps detoxify you from toxins in the air, your food, and your environment. The stuff that makes you age faster. Vitamin D3 with K2. You never take one without the other. D3 moves calcium into your blood, but K2 tells it where to go. Into your bones, not your arteries. TMG, the only legal compound that specifically targets fat metabolism. Magnesium glycinate, the most absorbable form of magnesium. This isn't one supplement, it's a 10-in-1 formula. You could buy all of these separately, fill your counter with bottles, and spend hundreds every month, or you could just drink this. Longevity coffee, delicious mocha roast packed with NMN, glutathione, TMG, magnesium, D3, K2, and more, all in one scoop. Real coffee, real science. One cup that makes your body younger from the inside out. And listen, this is the launch day deal. It's only available for the next 48 hours, and it's the lowest price you'll ever see. Black Forest isn't even making money on this. They just want people to try it and feel the difference. But after November 15th, this deal is gone for good. So ditch that overpriced drive-through coffee you're paying $7 for every morning. This is 10 times cheaper, 10 times better, and actually helps keep your arteries and your body youthful. You'll taste it, you'll feel it, and once you switch, you'll never go back. Click the link, grab your 48-hour launch special, and start drinking coffee that's actually good for you. Hit the link in the description or pinned comment, grab the deal while it lasts, and take control of your health before someone else does it for you.